So who do you think is going to hang on to Farm Island here?
That's a great question. If I were Pelagia, I wouldn't be making a lot of units that go on land, and so would lean toward Oceania. But it also looks like Pelagia is
Surrounding it.
sort of taking an early lead here.
I think the yeah. So real yeah he's playing the Squid Friends card, which is that I'm gonna go expand onto land, and I'm gonna ignore the fact that there's the great pink blob that is eating all the water. Who needs water provinces, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting sort of setup we're in, right? Like it's the geography and especially how Pelagia has expanded mean that it looks like Oceania and Relay are going to fight Pelagia, which is what we'd expect anyway, because Pelagia is the strongest underwater sort of duelist nation.
And these two are basically
Um,
fully amphibious. So
yes, so that's fine. In this scenario, I would probably, I don't want to make too much fun of the Squid Friends here because I would probably sort of go backwards with the first expand and then go forward, thinking that well, if war is inevitable, I might as well like sort of secure that area.
so I think we have a couple things to talk about here in the underwater realm, right? Hi everyone, by the way. This is uh this is the Twitter War 3, the much anticipated third installment to the series. Where people decided that the good thing to bring to Total War is a bunch of underwater nations fighting, and making up like what there are like what 12, 13 nations here.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting.
this is now the game of the lake and everyone around the lake.
It'll be interesting because if somebody can actually win this lake fight relatively early, they'll have three caps worth of sort of unattackable
So do we want
provinces
to play
and
the
be.
throne game? Do we want to play the how many thrones to win game from the lake? So actually, are there any underwater thrones? I don't see any.
I don't think so.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay. So how many thrones do we need to win the game? You need seven. Okay, that's actually a lot. So coastal thrones. One, two, three, four, five. This one's a little far away. Is there a seventh? I counted this one already. I'm pretty sure. Is there any? Oh, wait, where are the thrones? Oh, there is one. Oh, here it is. It's hidden from the winter. Okay, so yes, if you can rush, this is the furthest away province. So this is it's
Mhm.
you can win the game from underwater as long as you can rush that province, and everything else. Oh, here's another one. Okay, so you don't. No, this is a throne. It was blocked by all the centaurs. But yes, okay. So the
Uh,
furthest you need to go from water is two to win this game, and that's this province, that province, that province, that province, that province. So, hey, let's look at the underwater bowl, people.
Yeah, so of course, if they it drags into a really long back and forth fight and they're all extremely weak, maybe the winner will just sort of be too weak to get onto land and it won't matter, or maybe some land nation will snowball and win the game. But it certainly does, if you're a land nation, you got to be concerned if one of them sweeps the others and then sets up to just win the game on
Yeah,
thrones.
if I was a land nation, I would find two other land nations that I don't border and like make a little agreement and like funnel money to whoever's losing the underwater bowl such that they can not lose the underwater bowl. I think this is one of those games where you have a lot of proxy wars because let's say you're Pelagian, you take the pond. Well, now you need to like you've got enormous amounts of pearls and gems and research, but you can't stop one land nation from just snowballing all the rest and winning the game. But what you can do is you can unload enormous amounts of resources um, into these places to stop them from like snowballing. I think Dominions is a
But
great way to learn about geopolitics in this way.
yeah, it's, the lake is large enough here that if Pelagia owned the whole lake, it could at least harass any nation, I think, except Abyssia.
That's right. Abyssia, fittingly, has the only landlocked nation in the game. They've got this little lake here that's being currently harassed by this carrion dragon, but I'm sure they don't want water provinces anyway. Um, Abyssian mages don't die when they're underwater, but they probably should. I know like fire elementals do, and they're literally just lava people. Anyway, do you want to start with the underwater bowl, or shall we introduce some of the other nations first?
I think the viewers are here for the underwater
Oh, I
bowl.
think so too.
All right.
As I said earlier, or as I probably didn't say earlier, we're using the Spark of Divinity mod here, which means that gods are really kind of weird, and
They're turned up to 11.
they're turned to
They're
11.
stronger. They have powerful effects sort of outside of just the chassis.
Yes, and I think one of the powerful effects we can look at is these guys. So this is a nation of Rilia. Do you recognize these units? I think you might have played a nation with these guys before.
I do love. I can't pronounce it, but Ryugo Yo, or however you say it.
Yeah.
Excellent nation. These units were actually so good that they were removed from the nation and made into like summons
Yeah.
instead.
Hikeganis, or I don't. Sorry, my Japanese pronunciation is not the best. I don't actually know what god Rilia has.
It's a cave crab. You can see it in the cap.
Ah, I see. The huge cave crab. So that must be what's allowing them to recruit these dudes, right?
Right. When that cave crab wakes up or gets taken awake, it makes a little sight in the cap that lets you able to recruit these very interesting high prot sacreds.
So this is a 24 protection, 4 attack per square, one of which is armor piercing, and scales directly with strength. Metal katana having a crabman.
And 24 prot just out of the box is incredible.
So they gave them attack skill, shock resistance, cold resistance, and strength. This seems like exactly the build I would go. Maybe not cold resistance. Maybe that was just like you had some water pathing, and like you can't really use defense, right? Like you're gonna get hit at 8 defense. But this seems pretty close to what I would build. I don't know. Do you have a maybe magic weapons I would try to grab? But you're on a monster, right? So it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah. I think given the paths the monster had, this is pretty reasonable. Maybe you look at like Frost Aura or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Frost Aura would
Instead
be
of like
interesting.
Cold Resist.
But these guys seem like a menace, right? Like 18
Yeah.
attack, 29 damage, and then a second AP attack. Just in case you have like a moss body thug or something.
Right, and Relay can put Moss Body on these guys.
That would be pretty insane, yes. But despite that, their expansion is kind of lackluster. I don't know. Do these guys have like a crazy resource cost or something?
I don't think
31
so.
one rec point, is that right? Oh, maybe they're limited recruitment. Well, they've got 3 prod, 3 chaos, which is what you'd expect given that this is the unit you're going to recruit. I guess so. They've been going on. So these guys. So it's turn 7 right now. Looks like these guys have wanted to snake onto land a little bit.
I think they might have bounced off somebody, although I could be wrong.
I mean, what will bounce this unit? That's my question.
Good question.
There's not even any Amber Clan around here. Anyway, we can look back at them if you want, but we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that the god is not out there sweeping the weaker indies, because I think a cave crab
That's
is
true.
definitely capable of doing that.
Unless they need to literally be at the cap to make these things.
No, they don't.
No.
I think it's
Yeah, why isn't the cave crab doing anything?
Maybe the cave crab is trying to spam research and hit some sort of early goal like Conjuration 3 for water elementals or something, but it is a little. I mean, you would think you could do that after you took 4 provinces with
At
it.
least your cap circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're a resource-based recruitment. Like you take your cap circle.
Yeah.
Like this is just resources in the bank, right? You're wasting.
Maybe we'll see there's some clear reason why Relay did this later.
All right. So Pelagia seems to be doing great. This is like what 10 provinces or so by turn 7.
Yeah, this is. It actually surprises me. Like maybe Pelagia, talked to people and figured, well, it's inevitable. It's going to be a 1v2, but it actually went out there and sort of cut off the other 2 nations from each other, and sort of making it a certainty that it would be a 1v2.
And here we've got Bless that's not only includes the standard Pelagian attack skill, defense skill, but also includes regeneration and natural protection. This is a very expensive Bless.
Yes, it's got the regen, natural protection, undying. Which is not a combo you normally see on defense sacreds.
Well, I mean, undying is always good with regen and good with prot because it just it's like more HP, right? HP is great with regen and prot, especially. I mean, maybe like poison damage it helps with.
Oh, definitely. I'm not knocking it. It's just interesting. I'm more commenting on the fact that like taking regen on 16 HP defense cavalry is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
I suspect that.
Well, because remember they have 17 prot too. So these are 17 prot, 16 hit points. Like these guys are not like there's a reason Pelagia is the best underwater nation, right? Because they are not only defense cavalry, right, but they also have protection and hit points
Right, and
and
they've got a
recoup.
spear to repel.
Yeah, exactly. They have magic
solid units.
weapons. It's insane.
I think this
They're the only
strikes
nation that
me.
carries a lance and a spear.
It strikes me as a little bit greedy to take that bless, because to me it feels like a thug bless. Like
Sure,
that's amazing for like Pelagian thugs later in the game fighting on land.
sure.
It's a little greedy to try to do that when you seem to be expecting a 1v2 underwater. But maybe if Pelagia does win underwater, that could be really huge in actually turning an underwater bowl win into like a game win.
So Pelagia attempts to fight this very considerable Ichthyod's force. Ichthyod's are not great, but they are dangerous indies just because of how like fat they are.
And there's a lot of HP and
Yeah,
prot on the field here.
and
And
unfortunately,
if we look at the Pelagian units, I think a lot of those are militia.
yeah,
Actually,
these
like this
are.
is not.
Oh yeah,
Pelagia did not send
I
their
see.
best in
Yes,
this particular
Pelagian
fight.
militia. Yes, you're right. Pelagian militia. I mean, they're not. Pelagian militia actually not awful. They have 9 stats, and they've got these Amber Clan guys, and they definitely kill a bunch of them. But unfortunately, the great thing about militia is, I bet these guys don't die. I bet they just rout. Yeah, like
Well, that one's surrounded. He's not gonna
yeah,
make
that
it.
guy's not gonna make it. But look how tanky
Look,
these
they're
guys
still
are.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're okay. Yeah, just zooming out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, these it's just like if you had not had these guys in, they wouldn't have routed, right? It's just HP route.
Right.
But Pelagia seems to be doing just fine, just fine. Their experience. They killed Kululus, clearly the most menacing of the underwater nations.
No, that strength score can be terrifying to awake god.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you think they're bad, and then you send your dude into them, and you take 18 pierce damage, which is not.
Right.
These guys are doing okay. What is this? Got a bit of a failed expansion here. Oh no, this was an attack. Oh no, this was an expansion. Sorry, they're
Yeah,
just expanding
I think this is probably a misclick. Like they probably distributed the troops wrong because you really don't want like a column of troops going head on like this.
I don't know. It's not too bad. I mean, I guess they're not getting the surround
See,
here.
because they're getting surrounded, and you can see like, it's roughly even numbers, but
Sure.
a lot of the Oceania satyrs are just not fighting
Yeah.
because they're sort of backed up.
Yeah, satyrs
You,
belong.
you might want to turn on the
Oh yeah,
squares
right.
thing.
I always forget to do that. What number is it? What's the letter? I'm hitting all.
C, I think, is the default.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Ichthys satyrs are really cool because they're actually like incredibly like they're incredible. Like look at these guys' stats for their gold, right? And like so 11 strength, 15 defense. They've got spears. They're stealthy. They've got recoup. They're amphibious, and they cost 9 gold and 3 resources. So
They are made of tissue paper, but they've got enough defense score to not just drop dead during expansion.
and it's like a 15 prot shield, right? So that they are gonna actually it's a real shield. But unfortunately, Shark Tribe are just they 9 attacks per square. It will get through anyone's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had that if they had not misclicked
No.
with the troop distribution, because it was.
I see. Yeah, I mean, had they been had these
see.
guys been left and right rather than top and bottom, they would have probably flanked these guys and killed them. Yeah. If we look at underwater score graphs here.
Is Bandar log underwater now?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would be kind of a fun nation.
Underwater monkeys, yeah. Sea monkeys.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's a pretty commanding lead for Pelagia. These guys look like they pretty much neck and neck, just trade place last turn, but that's probably just because of that little bit of a blip there. I mean, now it's kind of, these guys are going to each get their portion of the pool here. Maybe they're going to fight over some provinces here, but I bet Pelagia takes this next turn. And then, Relay gets this, Oceania gets this, and then some war probably occurs.
It'll be interesting to see if either Pelagia or the other two just sort of immediately roll into sort of the other party and start the war, or whether it's sort of, people take a few turns to collect themselves. I personally would just roll into the war.
We were going to do some diplomacy here, but unfortunately we're not doing this in real time, and the diplomacy is not.
I don't think there was a lot of underwater diplomacy anyway.
No, I don't think so. All right, so let's move on. What else catches your eye here in this little bit of a lake here? So we've got let's just introduce the nations here. We've got the Bandar Log, everyone's favorite Monkey Astral Nation. We've got
Everyone's MA favorite
yes.
Monkey Astral Nation.
I mean, look, nobody plays either of the other ones. So, or people play Kyle. People
play
try
Lanka. People love Lanka.
That's true. Lanka is the real one.
I mean,
yeah.
not that they're astral, but still.
That's true. We've got Archocephaly, everyone's favorite astral human nation. We've got Celeria here, who is like weirdly straddling both coasts. Everyone's favorite. Oh, see, look at these gladiators. Oh yeah,
Ooh, you love to see it. It's so funny. It's like, oh, what's the weakness of this like ultra late game nation? Oh, it's their weak early game, but let's give them a gladiator so now they can repel everybody.
It's pretty good. And the player here is actually using the new addition in DE to the Solarian armory, which is that the battle vessels who are like not awful. So now they have Enchanted Spear, Enchanted Robes, Enchanted Shield. So they've got it's like basically a tower shield, but without the defense negation. So, you've got these ethereal 21 defense units who are really good against just clearing indies. And they're not even that expensive.
And what is the bless on them?
Bless we've got here, nothing. Shock resistance.
Oh, okay.
I think there's that's literally impossible, so I think there's like a dormant thing going on.
Uh-huh.
Or it's possible that the god...
Well.
Yeah, it's possible that the god gives them shock resistance or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
But, these guys are great against cleaning up indies. I think they cost, what? They cost like 50 gold each?
Less than that.
45 gold?
Yeah.
It's great because they don't cost any resources, so it's really good for expanding. So,
not something you necessarily want to be anchoring yourself on as Celeria because they get banished or dusted like the rest of your stuff.
They do have 15 morale. Magic resist, which is nice, and they have 9 HP, so they're not going to draw evos. But yes, no, I think this is really just an expansion tactic.
Yeah, and maybe use them for raiding or something because I believe DE gives them like a stealthy commander.
Oh, do they have stealth? Oh yeah, so they don't have stealth. They also have a stealthy lady who's just the big version.
Yeah, so maybe you do keep them around and you just use them as raiders.
Yep. And usually,
hooray, Celeria now has stealthy raiders. Love
yes, that. Exactly. The one thing they were missing. Yeah, so we've got Celeria here. We have a really quite a large dead zone. No. We've got Marignon, cousins of Rome over here, who have also some astral nonsense. They are not doing as well in their expansion, it seems. Let's see. Oh, right. Yes. These guys are going the coveted assassin expand. Do you have any experience with the assassin expand, Jamodon?
Yeah, I tried so hard to make it work in testing. I could never do it. I always thought, this seems cool, but it doesn't actually work. Like it's too slow in practice.
Yeah, it's like the game gives every province like 4 commanders for no goddamn reason.
Yeah. Great against people because people don't just have, 4 random human commanders leading 30 troops like the AI does.
Why is there a dog? Oh, okay, that's weird. So Marignon, well-known, very high blessed nation. They've got some morale, magic weapons. They actually bought a morale. That's zany.
They must have had like a leftover point of fire.
Yeah, probably. And these guys get bonuses to fire, so you could even 20 points left in their bless, they could throw a fire point on. Magic weapons, poison resistance, defense, magic. Okay, nothing here looks particularly interesting. I don't actually know what this bless is supposed to be. There's nothing here. I mean, defense, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Everything else seems pretty much whatever, right?
It's a pretty standard defensive bless.
I mean, I think on Marignon you take damage though, or something.
Well, they have magic weapons, I suppose.
I mean,
they have fire resist, right?
No fire resistance. Poison.
That's
resistance.
weird.
Yeah. Well,
that is weird. I wonder if they have a dormant god that's going to wake up with heat aura or something.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
Because why do they have a point of morale? I don't know.
Oh! We found something here. Yes, I think you're right. Yes, I think they've got a dormant god with heat aura or something like that. Yeah, and that also makes sense because there's no god here and there's no god in the vicinity.
Yeah,
so.
that might explain why they're expanding slowly because they put a lot of their points in a dormant incarnate bless.
Yeah, I know they do have some really good thugs in DE, Dominion Immortal dudes. So maybe they're using heat aura to thug those guys. Down here in the southern quadrant we have a very nice expansion. out of MA Abyssia. These guys have been. I think these guys look. These guys have also assassins, but their assassins are great because they, for some, how are they leading devils? Wait, oh, okay. Let's take a look here. Ah, they've got a soul contract, and that soul contract gives them 15 undead command. I see. Right. So I think the spark god here is the what is it? The infernal spirit.
Infernal spirit.
And I think what this god hands out soul spirit. What is it? Soul contracts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is really good on
Yeah.
slayers because they have no actual leadership, but you can use them to send devils. Yep, that is a good unit. It could use some protection, but that's its only real problem. Yeah, I mean Abyssia, Abyssia is always really good expansion. It's got these really nice high protection troops that it starts with, and with free devils, like you can only get better from there.
Yeah.
Let's see, are there any forts going down? I don't see any. Not. Oh, here we go. Fort going down here. Pretty good.
Okay.
15,000. That's not bad for Middle Ages. But yeah, Abyssia here. If we look at the graphs, in terms of total provinces for the land nations.
Yeah, they're up there. Number one, even.
Yeah, we look at here. Bandar's number 2. Abyssia is number 1 here for the land nations. Not bad at all.
See what they do. What they do with that, right? Like, are they going to try to finish expanding and then immediately roll into somebody who hasn't finished expanding, or what?
I don't know what bless they have, but I don't think it's super crazy. Mostly they are relying on these devils for expanding, and so we'll have to see what
That's a bit unusual. Usually, you see Abyssias going like bark skin, etc., just to use their sacreds.
Well, we haven't actually looked at their bless yet. We can pull it up if we want, but I'm not exactly sure what their bless is. We'll have to maybe check back later.
Yeah.
So we got Satis here. The standard lizard dudes. I think that their god is one that gives them a bunch of free long dead. The Sauro
It's the
Lich.
Sorrow Lich.
Yes.
Yeah,
indeed.
he summons undead every turn, and he also turns Satisian priests undead, so then they can reanimate just like a Solarian priest.
I understand. So
I suspect rather than researching, he's having some initial turns of priests turn undead and then summon.
that makes sense. One problem here is it looks like these guys have just taken 2 of their cap circle provinces on turn 7, which is kind of odd.
The slow start.
Yeah. So yeah, not 5 provinces, a couple swamps, plenty of undead. Though the thing about undead is they attrition super heavily in expansion. So unless you're really like getting guys back to come get them, then it can be a little tricky. Next up on this nation, another little bit of a poor expander is Tartary. And I know you have some experience with Tartary. Tell me what you think about Tartary's expansion. What strategies you tend to use. Is this an expansion tactic that you would use?
So Tartary's very good at fighting barbarians, unlike most other nations. So actually, you love seeing barbarians like in your cap circle, whereas normally you'd be like, oh my god, 70 barbarians, GG. I think they're not the strongest expanders because they just the sacreds don't really work well for a variety of reasons that we can get into later in the series.
Sure.
I don't know. When I played them, I took a lot of prot and recruited a lot of the heavy horse. It doesn't look. I don't know if you pop those up. It doesn't look like these are the heavy ones, but it's very early on. Maybe he's not bothering yet.
It's a mixture, but mostly it's the horse warriors. Yeah, I mean they're
the heavy. And actually, you remember, you were the one who recommended I recruit a lot of the heavy ones, which turned out to be great advice because they are. They do have much better attacks. They have like 2 attacks and they're better compared to like the one, I think, spear on the normal horse.
If you look at the barbarian horseman here, you've got a light lance and composite bow, as compared to the heavy horsemen who've got. He's here somewhere. Here we go.
There it is.
Who's got a lance, a falchion, a hoof, and a composite bow. So you're looking at 2 attacks in combat, lance plus hoof rather than a light thing plus hoof in combat. Oh, sorry, falchion plus hoof instead of a spear plus hoof in combat, and then you have also obviously the really nice lance charge.
And you've got better prot as well.
Better prot. I think you even have better defense. No, you don't.
The downside, of course, is that they cost a lot more resources, so it's tough to use. Like, I wouldn't expect to see a lot of them on turn 5.
Yeah. Um, yeah, this might be one we want to go back and check out because I don't understand how Tartary has not like again as you say here's some barbarians. Like I mean maybe 60 is a lot. Horse tribe, like is Horse tribe hard for Tartary? Like they've got
Yeah,
big
actually, it's
shields.
kind of a hard one.
Don't they have 16 defense and like these everyone has a
Uh,
shield?
they do okay.
All right. Well, I guess these guys have shields too. Maybe we'll have to see if they failed in their expansion earlier.
They must have, or
Uh,
they're being very conservative.
yeah. Rounding back around to Ermor. Here we've got, I think this is an Ermor Solaria combo build. They are taking the Ghost King, which I think gives you free ghosts. I think we can see here they've got some.
It's
What is
the
this?
ghost of alcohol past.
Yes, indeed, the Ghost of Alcohol Past. Or rather, the Ghost of Nation Future. Um, I don't know. We have any? Let's see. They've got a Ghost Champion. That's an
I
EA.
think I think this god starts with a little ghost army led by a ghost champion.
Oh, I understand. Yes, yes. Well, here it
So
is.
I think Ermor was thinking I'm gonna really come out of the gate strong, and then also have like some ghosts to mix in later.
Well, they got morale, cold resistance, fate weaving, undying, blood vengeance. That is quite a bless.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no regen here, and fate weaving is interesting. I think does fate weaving help your blood vengeance roll? It helps your chill aura roll, I guess.
Yeah.
Certainly, they're really going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not like the sort of standard these days Ermor build is like double regen blood vengeance
Yep.
on like a dormant god, I think.
Yep.
And you build it, you barely ever research and you just summon lictors. But it looks like this Ermor has gone cavalry build.
This is a full death build, so there is not a single positive stat here. So he definitely has pulled out all the stops in terms of there's not. This is not like Magic Luck Ermor, right? This is
Right, right.
full hangover Ermor.
Yeah, you can sort of go three ways with Ermor. You can go like trash your scales and then build for lictors. You can trash your scales and build for the sacred free spawn cavalry, which is what we've done here. Or you can go like magic luck and try to actually have a little bit of diversity and magical research.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, what do these guys have that is specific to the cavalry? I guess. I mean,
It's the
I
undying,
guess no, no. Yeah, undying rather than regen. I guess is what makes this a
yeah,
cavalry build because these guys have what, like 10 HP or something. Yeah, 6 HP.
six, yeah.
So that's why you take undying rather than regen. Yeah, that makes sense. Regen would be kind of useless on these guys.
Yep. And maybe the plan here is like, Ermor can use some Solus to bait the banishes and while
Sure.
the cavalry kills everything instead of messing around with lictors.
Yeah, not too bad. All right, next on the docket, we've got Ulm here, who has a little bit of a funny expansion. I see they're using the Hogmeisters, or no, the Black Knights. They're not Hogmeisters
I like
until,
to see that. I think I think Black Knights are underrated on Ulm.
oh no, I think it's common wisdom to you play these guys in using the expansion. They never really use them again just because they cost money, and Ulm doesn't want to spend money on stuff that is not like a wall of dudes.
Uh-huh.
Their expansion seems to be okay. Not great, not terrible. And I
Wait,
don't.
that one's led by the god? Can we watch that battle?
Oh yes, of course. Well, any self-respecting Ulm god now takes the Iron Angel, or the Black Steel Angel. So we've got military Ulm Industrial Complex, the Black Steel Angel, and it has like 26 prot or something. So like it's not really a question of what this thing does into most indies.
And yeah, you're right. And he free spawns infantry every turn.
Oh, does he give you the AP infantry?
Uh, Good question.
So in DE, this guy gives you the ability to access Ulm's armor-piercing infantry, which are really good. So, um, yeah.
So interestingly, he does not have recuperation. I don't know if that's like a DE bug or what.
Well, he's got
But
wound
this,
fend. He's got wound fend he's got 5 afflicting resistance, which I think is a lot, maybe.
eh,
But you're right. He doesn't have recuperation. That is kind of odd. All these gods have recuperation.
yeah, I suspect that's just in something some wire got crossed.
Yeah, that is odd. Well,
Because even like the inanimate gods,
great. I see he's
I-
limp. He's limp now. That's
yeah,
crazy.
he's limp. Poor guy.
Rip. Well, hopefully that doesn't come around to like make the
Yeah,
be
he's
negative.
flying, so it's a lot less bad than it would be for another god.
And he won't care about Feeble Mind also. And then our final god, Asphodel. Asphodel started an interesting god. If you are astute, you will notice that it is turn 7, but there is a global enchantment. That is Haunted Forest, which is Asphodel's national enchantment, which gives them just cheaper dudes. So, like, whatever.
And reanimates enemies when they die in Asphodel's Dominion.
Ah, yes.
We might even see that if in expansion. I'm not sure if it works on Indies.
Well, we could take a look. But this is just what their god gives them. So the Carrion Dragon, which is basically Asphodel's, like, that's their god. I don't see any reanimation.
I don't see any.
God, the sleep aura is so crazy.
Not that the centaurs need any help to win this.
Yeah, so these centaurs have regeneration and invulnerability 5. They don't have berserk, so they don't get like the prot of the other centaurs. So these guys are running at 15 normal protection, and they've got sleep aura, and they've got sloth power, which is always fun. And yeah, they're just, these guys are ready to kick ass and take names. And
they are very good units.
And they've got their big god here, the Master of Life, and I see it auto cast. Oh, that's funny. You could just put a global spell on an item. That's pretty cool. That makes sense.
It's cursed, but yeah.
Did they get to like put? I guess, can they add gems to it?
I don't think so. I think it just gets cast blank, which could be a problem if the world, like the spell list is filled. But you can always
wait, this guy is actually
shot.
reanimating stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe was that fight not on their Dominion? This is under the Ghost of Alcohol Path's Dominion. Did we talk about Bannerlog at all? That we know
No.
the Bannerlog has a pretty okay expansion.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they? Aren't they?
Yeah, they're second place. So they're definitely a pack leader here. I mean, Bannerlog always has amazing expansion, right? Because you have these, you've got these Tiger Riders. I'll bring them up here, who are cost 17.
Tiger Riders have some issues, but they're great at expanding.
They have 11 magic resistance, which means that like you got mind burn. Do you wanna make 50 gold with one mind burn, 60 gold with one mind burn, right? Mm-hmm. But they've got 3 attacks, 16 defense, 13 attack. Definitely in terms of shredding the hell out of indie units. Yeah. So in terms of a bless, let's see what they got. So we've got attack, magic weapons, air shield, shock resistance, defense shield, magic resistance, strength. Seems pretty good. Do you notice anything weird here in this blast, Jamodon?
Yeah, it's odd. Like Air Shield 33 isn't something you can normally get from a bless. It would also be weird to see defense skill +1
without swiftness.
Well,
no, that is swiftness. No, that is actually swiftness.
Yeah, okay.
So here's the thing: these guys have taken a very interesting god. Their god is actually one of the generally considered better gods in DE. We've got the Destroyer of Worlds here. I mean, sorry, stat-wise, he's very good. He's got Death and Air, which are the 2 best magic paths, but they are the 2 worst blessed paths.
And they're all pretty useless for early expansion. Like you want sort of like Earth and maybe Nature.
Well, don't discount Air Shield and Skeletal Body, but you're right. There are no personal regeneration. Actually, the great thing about Air Shield and Skeletal Body is they're like Alteration 1, or actually Air Shield is Alteration 0 in DE.
Yeah, but I think Bandar took Astral on his god as well. Because we saw magic weapons.
Yes, I think he did grab Astral there just to the Tiger Riders, one of their downsides is having no magic weapons. But yeah, so this guy's god has a special effect, which is pretty powerful, where all of his units, to his bless, he adds 2 attack and 2 defense. 2 attack and 2 strength, and 33% air shield. And every time he takes a throne, he gets that again. So that's pretty insane. So if he has, say, 5 thrones, that's 10 attack, 10 strength, and 90% air shield, which I believe is the cap. Right. So yeah, that's pretty bonko. We have not seen a god out of Archocephali. Who knows what they're cooking, but Archocephali very often goes with that particular god, so maybe it'll be that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of Arco with like an awake monster or something, but maybe this Arco is going for a slightly longer term strategy.
Could be. Anyway, so I think maybe do you want to go back and look at some of these expansions to see how some of these expansions go? Maybe what? So if we look here on turn 3 now, backed up a little bit. Pelagia definitely makes sense. Their expansion, they grab 3 provinces by turn 3. Pretty easy stuff with their Knights of the Deep, right? Kills most stuff. Tartar here actually seems to be a pretty low number of forces. They are killing stuff, but it's just not. How do you lose that many dudes against a couple of militia? Probably because they just put all their stuff into a single undisciplined blob.
Yeah, and the ones in the back shot, and the ones in the front ran in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
They do have a bunch of random crap. Maybe that's what their god gives them. Like, well, how do you get 2 Beast Tribe hunters?
Right.
Oh, this is a Beast Tribe province. That's why.
That's weird that you would recruit Beast Tribe instead of like your
Sorry, not Beast
national
Tribe.
horses that
Bone
can
Tribe.
go anywhere though. Yeah.
I mean, Bone Tribe are good, right? But they're not horses.
Yeah, they're good, but they're not amazing. They're sort of tin can openers. You might use
So
against,
here's
other players.
here's the real thing. So we've got Marignon here with their reasonably, like, these are respectable troops. I say that as I look, they have 14 protection, 8 defense, which is like not amazing. They have pikes, which will repel very low morale indies. Trying to fight these tribesmen. We've got a,
So that's not a lot of pikes going into melee.
that is. And here comes the troops. Okay, not bad. Okay, you've cleaned up the first thing. Looks fine. And a web, and you ran away. Well, unlucky. Yeah, well, Tartary failed its first. Marignon failed its first expansion. There's a bunch of guys in this province.
Well, some of them are recruited. I assume they attacked with everything they had, but that's weird. That's like their starting army plus 1 turn of recruitment.
I think they were being greedy. So often what you do is, so see here, right? So they're not going to take either of these provinces because they're pretty big, right? So what you do sometimes is you hold back some of your guys from your first party, such that you can now next turn they can grab that, right, really safely, and then they'll converge on that, right? And while these guys will just go back, and then there's something, right? So it's a tactic. I've used it before, but the risk is if you miss your province, now you're just kind of fucked. Yeah. And that appears to be what's happened to Marignon. So that makes sense. That's why Marignon's expansion's kind of stilted. I mean, they don't have the hardest guys around them, but if they're not taking anything huge on their knights. It's high resource cost units. They don't have a ton of prod, so that, getting stuff out of their caps can be difficult. So it makes sense why they're not doing ridiculously. Abyssia on their hand is great because Abyssia just has these Abyssian infantry who have 17 prot, and they just get like 30 of them to start the game, and they just roll through stuff. So, and
that was a knight province.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this is 8 losses. Like, what's that? But no, they killed 11 knights. Like,
yeah, wow.
Just absolutely not. Like, this is troops are not supposed to be this effective. But when you have a troop that has 15 hit points, 17 protection, and a 25 damage battle axe, or a 19 damage flail in this case, so you've got these Abyssians doing 6 attacks per square at 19 damage, at bonus damage to shields, right? You have a lot of dead. In fact, the only reason these knights did so well is because they kind of had the flank. So I think blob formation, by the way, would have done better here. I don't know what people. I don't know why people use.
Did they hold an attack with Abyssia?
No, they
no. So if they'd held an attack in the back, then the knights would have hit first instead of like the infantry.
Yeah,
and that would have I think gone maybe. I mean, the lances are still going to kill a couple of Abyssians, but I think that might have helped a little bit.
Yeah, because then these guys would have wrapped around instead of getting flanked here, they would have flanked the knights, and then they would have killed them faster than they got locked down with these guys. I don't understand the line formation here. Like, really, what's the point? You're just, I guess you want a better flank, right? But
I think the line formation is fine. I would just do hold and attack.
Yeah. No. The times when to not hold an attack as infantry is
if you're going into a cavalry province, at least personally, I usually do hold and attack cavalry even just to 100% make sure they target properly, or hold and attack closest at least is safe.
Arco also seems very reticent to come out of their camp.
They did. Look to the right.
No, it's a scout ping.
Oh,
it died. It died to a heavy gun.
Oh no.
This is turn 3. So I think they must have failed an expansion already.
That must be it.
But turn 3 means normally you don't go anywhere turn 1. So, and if it had been turn 2, we would have seen a fight marker. So I don't know what's going on with them. But I mean, look, here's 80 units, right? They've clearly built up their army. I don't know why they.
That's weird.
Maybe they lost a battle here, turn 0, but that why would you ever do that? Like blinding as Arco
Yeah,
is just not a good play.
maybe yeah. I don't know. That
Mm.
is weird.
I think that basically explains what's going on with the expansion here. Statis is pretty. I think Statis is over reliance. Yeah, so they've got okay. The Statis took Turmoil 3, Sloth 3, so they were entirely reliant on their Long Dead, and Long Dead just don't expand. Like they're great because they're come in overwhelming numbers, but they just don't have an HP, so they don't expand great. So
And a lot of indies just have random priests in the back that will banish a lot of them.
that I never even think about that, but yeah, you're totally right. There's absolutely random. This one has an Azure Mage in it. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Though they don't really do anything. Oh, here we go. Gunther the Priest in Norville.
Yep.
Yep.
A lot of just the plains humans have a priest or two in the back.
Yep. Yep. Indeed. Anyway, I think that's it for the early expansion. We'll have to see how in
We
future.
should look at Bandar's God really quick.
Oh yeah, Bandar's God, absolutely.
Good way to wrap it
oh,
up.
we can't. Oh, here it is. So Bandar's God, the Destroyer of World. It's got 4 astral. It's got some death. It's looking good. It's got what is it spending that death on? Invulnerability. Got it. Invulnerability and
I really like this bless on Tiger Riders.
oh,
I
absolutely.
think
Yeah.
it gets you through the early game, which is what you need, and then it's fine. They're not going to survive taking a bunch of evos later anyway, no matter what you put on them.
No, I mean I completely agree. This is a great god. It's just kind of overpowered. Like, look at this. Air shield, strength attack, multiplied by thrones of controlled. Like, come on.
Yeah, you have to think like, wow, if you take 3 thrones when you finish expanding and sort of are careful and go for that instead of an early war, like that's huge. That's a huge bless.
And it has auto quicken self, which is just kind of it's just insult to injury. Like this thing
Yeah,
is already a 4-armed monster, and it's just
there it goes.
yep, there it goes. Just look at it
God,
go.
aw.
Yeah, it's got
Wait,
it's just
wait
it's
until
got,
we have like
it's got
wait until
inbuilt
we have
awe,
like
fear. Yeah, insane.
wait until you have like a vine shield and like 3.
2 vine shields, no. a vine shield and a shield of many colors, and yeah.
Yeah,
it's
true.
gonna
And
be,
then like 2 defense weapons.
it's gonna be pretty insane. All right, is there anything else we should look at before we move on?
I don't think so, unless anything happened underwater that we should pay attention to.
Look, I mean, you can see here that Pelagia starts off their expand strong, and
Yeah.
Aurelia doesn't. So, yeah, makes sense. Everything from the future makes perfect sense now, and that is.
It is
all there's
surprising
say.
to me to see the number of people that only took their first province on turn 3 now.
Look, man, Spark of Divinity makes for greedy players,
Yeah, that's true.
and people
Maybe I would be
expanding in a
tempted
line.
to.
Why? Why do you do this? You're just trying to
Well, it's
antagonize your
Urmor.
enemy.
It's not like you need resources.
You've got 20,000 people in this province, and they're all gonna die. Are they just trying to antagonize their neighbor? Like, if I was Urmor, I would not want Abyssium mad at me.
Oh, come on, it's 3 from Abyssia and 2 from Urmor. Like, that's fair game.
I guess so, but I guess you can use this gold. I guess what you do is you take this province, you eat the gold from it, and then you wait for the Dom to get there, so you build up some gold while the Dom is not on it.
Yeah, exactly. And you turn that gold's going to turn into a couple of forts from just that one province.
Makes sense to me. All right, well, cool stuff. Well, we'll see everybody next time on expansion round 2 in Twitter War number 3. God, too many numbers. Why are there so many
No,
numbers?
that's great. That was a dramatic way to end.